Hello, everyone. Welcome to PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. I'm your host, Kim Weiler, and you are listening to my show, Taking Control of Our Health. When I began my journey to heal my skin after 20 years suffering with the skin disease psoriasis, I did many things to change my diet, which I've shared with you in earlier podcasts. I removed dairy, refined sugar, the nightshade vegetables, alcohol, coffee. And out of everything I removed from my diet, the one food group that was the biggest one for me was processed food. Almost everything is processed nowadays, isn't it? It's crazy. I grew up eating processed food. I'm sure most of you can relate to that. I even did a workshop recently where I mentioned to the group how I used to eat TV dinners. Remember those? And I loved the dessert portion, those yummy apple or cherry pie fillings with the graham cracker crust. Oh, those were so good. And my husband used to eat them too growing up, and he said that he would talk to his sisters when they would eat them, and he would say, "Oh, what mystery meat did you get?" So another thing I loved was Pop-Tarts, and that was my breakfast most days. But most of all, I was obsessed with Doritos. I had a massive addiction to those. I could easily down a whole bag without even thinking about it. So when I changed my diet 6 years ago, I cut out all processed food. And I noticed right away that my psoriasis spots started fading away, literally fading away. And now, I know it was a combination of things that I was doing, but the one huge thing that I was doing the most was eating clean food. And you might think this is crazy, but I didn't know that Doritos wasn't a real food. I mean, clearly my parents didn't either. It was in the supermarket, right? And people go to the supermarket to buy food. They buy it, they eat it, they feed it to their kids. So isn't it safe to eat? You see, I didn't know that by eating that food that I was bathing my cells in nothing but sugar and chemicals and zero nutrients. I just didn't know. Just like my parents didn't know that some major contributors to chronic disease are the chemicals that are injected into our food supply. And this might sound a bit harsh, but we're poisoning ourselves. And the FDA allows it. They turn a blind eye to us consuming toxic food ingredients every single day. And these ingredients, they were never proven to be safe in the first place. Other countries won't even allow them in their food supply. They turn them away. And I won't get into the why because that's a whole other podcast. But just know that processed food is not real food. Real food is grown from the earth, it runs on a farm, or it swims in the ocean. It's not produced in a laboratory. So let me just give you a few examples. Diet soda, that's a huge one for people, right? I mean, my own mom drinks it, and unfortunately, I can't convince her not to. But diet soda has an artificial chemical sweetener in it called aspartame. I'm sure you've all heard of aspartame. And aspartame breaks down into the body into formic acid and formaldehyde. So would you drink formaldehyde? I mean, that's the stuff that they put in dead bodies. Probably not, right? But most people drink soda. So what they don't realize is that this unsafe chemical can cause hundreds of different health issues. I mean, everything from seizures to diabetes to Alzheimer's disease. That's just naming a few. Another example is packaged store-bought bread. So it says 100% whole grain on it, so you think it's healthy, right? Well, when a whole grain is altered and chemical preservatives are added in, to be able to extend its shelf life, most of those nutrients are sucked out. And when they're putting those minerals and nutrients back in, they don't have nearly half the same nourishment or effect from when they were in their original state. The bran and the germ, that has all the fiber, and all of that's removed, as well as all the vitamins and the minerals. So we need to make our cells thrive. We need those things to make our cells thrive. So what happens now is that they're just too easily digested, and they send your blood sugar and insulin skyrocketing, which again can lead to all sorts of problems. And that's just packaged bread. Can you imagine all the cookies and crackers and pastries, like anything that sits on a shelf in a box or a bag? And the third example I'm going to give is kids' cereal, because there's one huge dangerous chemical in kids' cereal, and that's artificial coloring: blue, green, red, yellow. all of them have been linked to cancers of the thyroid, adrenal, bladder, kidney, and brain. This is something that most Americans feed their children, the next generation. And this is just one kids product with food coloring. They're everywhere in all those fun kids foods. They're everywhere. So now that I've totally freaked you out and you're all like, oh my God, I'm never eating bread or soda again, good. I'm sure you've all heard of the best way to food shop, right? They say shop on the outskirts of the store, avoid the middle aisles, or just buy things without a label like broccoli or avocados. Well, yeah, both of those are really good rules, but they're not easy, right? I mean, in order to do that, it's going to take a heck of a lot of creative planning and recipe researching and time in the kitchen. No one has time for that. Life is busy. I don't even have kids, and I find it difficult to make time to cook and prep and research it. It's a lot of work. And my husband and I have actually been grilling every single night just to avoid having to think about it because we've been so busy. You know, we work all day, and we barely have time to take care of ourselves and our families, right? So one thing that I like to do, I try to do this the best that I can. When I'm in the supermarket, I would at least like to understand what I'm buying so that I can pick and choose the best option. I like to buy things that, A, I could pronounce, and B, I try to stick to the 5 ingredients or less rule because most items with chemicals have way more than 5 ingredients. And I just want you to know I'm not perfect. I have my moments where I just want to buy that delicious taco seasoning, or I'm at a barbecue and I want some chips. I mean, look, please know I struggle with this just as much as you. And luckily, my skin talks to me and tells me when it's time to pass on those chips or that drink. I'm finally at a point in my journey where I listen to my skin because I certainly didn't do that for most of my life. So I'd like to give you an example now of being in the supermarket and picking and choosing your groceries by the label, because that's basically all we have time for today is one example. But if you'd like me to come back and give you more examples, just let me know. Send me an email. So this one particular example is going to help you become a smarter, healthier shopper so that when you're shopping for you and your family, you can become your own little investigator and choose the foods that are going to benefit everybody in your life. So I went to this supermarket by me. It's called Stop and Shop. It's by me here in New York, and I bought a package of whole wheat bread. Now, here are the ingredients. I'm just going to list them out for you real quick. High fructose corn syrup, soybean oil, enrichment, mono and diglycerides, calcium propionate, datum, soy lectin, citric acid, potassium iodate, ethoxylated mono and diglycerides, calcium phosphate. Now, do you know what any of those are? If you read those on a label, would you feel confident that you knew what you were eating, what was going into your gut? I wouldn't, but I used to buy this all the time thinking, well, it says 100% whole wheat, so it's good for me. Is that what you do? So just to compare, I then went to the bakery near my house and I bought a loaf of whole wheat bread. And the baker wrote out a list of the ingredients for me, and here they are. Eggs, whole wheat flour, sugar, water, salt, yeast. Do I need to say more? You totally get my message, don't you? There isn't one ingredient here that I don't know what it is. And yes, the bakery bread will go bad faster. But isn't your family's health worth the extra trip to the bakery to buy a new loaf in a few days? Or you can freeze an extra loaf and you can, use it for toast in the morning. But you see, when food is processed, it's removed of all of its nutrients. Chemicals and artificial additives are added to make it taste good. And like I said earlier, when they're putting those minerals and nutrients back in, they don't have nearly the same nourishment or effect from when they were in their original state. There are over 14,000 food chemicals made in laboratories today. 14,000. And look, not all of them are harmful, but some of them cause everything from hives to asthma to headaches. I mean, you name it. So the message here is clear, right? Do your research and avoid foods that have chemicals in them. Chemicals contribute to disease. It's that simple. Chemicals is one of the reasons that I developed psoriasis. Real food is packed with nutrients and minerals and vitamins to make our cells flourish and thrive and be disease-free. Most people go about their day with some type of ailment, some type of hurting, and they think it's normal, and they say things like, well, this is what happens as you get older. No, you can bring health and happiness into your 90s if you want, but you won't if you're not aware of what's causing you to feel bad in the first place. So I challenge you to remove chemical-filled processed food from your diet, even if it's just one day a week. My sister actually just started doing that. One day a week, she has a chemical-free day, just to get her started. She's a busy mother of 2 little babies, so for her, baby steps is necessary. So try it for one day a week, just like her. And ask for support from your friends and family, or do it with a friend. Clean out your kitchen, your pantry, your fridge, your cupboards, and put all your processed food in a bag and go donate it. Not only are you getting rid of temptation, but you'll do this good deed for the day, and hey, it's a win-win. It takes 28 days to make change a habit. So if you commit to healing and do this challenge, you'll have taken the first step to controlling your health and, in turn, controlling your life, really. This is the time for you to make the biggest decision of your health. Choose healing, because it's your choice. You're the one in control, not your kids, not your skin, not your doctor, but you. So before I sign off, I wanted to let you guys know that one of my goals is to speak at schools and colleges to empower young girls. So if you're listening and you'd like me to speak at your school, please let me know. I'd love to. And I'd love to hear from you, so email me any updates, and if you would like any more information, you can contact me at kim@healingmyskin.com. To listen to the show, you can go to PassionateWorldRadioNetwork.com, or you can find it on iTunes by typing in my name, Kim Weiler, Weiler, Healing My Skin. And you could also find my book, P.S. It's All About Love, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Outskirts Press. This is your host, Kim Weiler, with Taking Control of Our Health on PWR Network. Thank you so much for listening.